Very good morning, guys. Welcome to Exampur and Merry Christmas to all of you. And we are going to continue our series in the NCERT Political Science Class 7, the last chapter in this Class 7th NCERT of Political Science, that is the struggles for equality. So, till now, we have discussed n number of times about the concept of equality, fraternity, and discrimination and all. And this chapter is something which is going to tell us about the same points of discussion which we had so far. So, in the previous lectures, we discussed about the types of equality, that is the social, political, and economic equality. We have seen that how the social and political equalities are possible, but unfortunately, हमारा ये जो economic equality है, इनमें कुछ problems हैं. ये इनको अचीव करना almost एक difficult task है. Okay, so going ahead with the chapter, the chapter is struggles for equality. How do we struggle and how much do we struggle for the sake of equality? Okay, so moving with the chapter. So from here, we'll begin this chapter from here, that is struggles for equality. Throughout the world, in every community, village, city, and town, you will find that there are some people who are known and respected because of their fight for equality. These people may have stood up against an act of discrimination that they faced or which they witnessed. Or they may be well respected because they treat all persons with dignity and are therefore trusted and called upon to resolve issues in the community. But they are very few people. हम बात करते हैं, हाँ हमारे पास ऐसे कुछ लोग हैं जो इक्वालिटी के लिए लड़ते हैं, जो डिस्क्रिमिनेशन के अगेंस्ट बोलते हैं, बट दे आर क्वाइट फ्यू पीपल. लाइक अगर इंडिया में 130 करोड़ की पॉपुलेशन है हमारे पास, या हिस्ट्री में जितनी भी पॉपुलेशन रही हो, हम उसमें इक्वालिटी की फाइट लड़ने वाले कितने लोगों को जानते हैं जिनका एक्चुअल मोटिव सिर्फ और सिर्फ इक्वालिटी था? राइट, हाउ मेनी नेम्स वी कैन टेक? ओके, द फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट डॉक्टर बी आर अम्बेडकर या ज्योतिबा फूले, है ना. ये कुछ दो चार नाम ही होते हैं हमारे पास जिनको हम देखते हैं कि इनका इकलौता मोटिव था टू एस्टैब्लिश इक्वालिटी इन द सोसाइटी, or to get the rights of the people, those who are exploited, or those people, those who are from the depressed communities or the depressed classes. Exploited class is the depressed class itself, or the rights of minorities. In India, in the present stage, in the present scenario, in the present era, can you please comment and answer that how many names you have presently into this present day of 25th of December 2020? How many persons or how many names we have present in the present politics or social system, those who are fighting for the concept, for the sake of equality or against discrimination? I believe in present times there is hardly any name. Or even if there is a name, it is also not that popular because his or her very fight hasn't gained that much of political and social limelight. Okay, political and social publicity उस एक particular लड़ाई को शायद नहीं मिला है. So don't you think so? It's shocking. ये अपने आप में एक बहुत ही shocking statement है कि presently हमारे पास कोई है ही नहीं इंडियन सोसाइटी में जो पॉलिटिकली या सोशली लड़ाई लड़ रहा हो इक्वालिटी के लिए या फिर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन के अगेंस्ट. इक्वालिटी के लिए यानी कि वो फॉर श्योर बाय डिफॉल्ट इक्वल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन के अगेंस्ट ही हो जाएगा. सो वी डोंट हैव एनी नेम, and even if there is any person, whether male or female, from any community, caste or religion or race, that person hasn't gained that much amount of limelight, that much publicity. Reason is, this is not anywhere related to any seat in the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha or any Vidhan Sabha or any kind of examination. Okay, so that's why. So throughout the world, in every community, village, city and town, you will find that there are some people. Some people मतलब who are these some people? कहाँ मिलते हैं ये लोग, है ना? So now, often some of these persons become more widely recognized because they have the support or represent large number of people who have united to address a particular issue of inequality. In India, there are several struggles in which people have come together to fight for issues that they believe are important. In our chapter 5, we have read about the methods used by the women's movement to raise issues of equality. The Tava Matsya Sangh in Madhya Pradesh is another example of people coming together to fight for an issue. Tava Matsya Sangh, Madhya Pradesh का एक movement है, okay, which is there for the concept of equality. Apart from that, how many movements do we have? Like अभी आप देख पा रहे हो शायद ब्रू कम्युनिटी को लेकर प्रॉब्लम चल रही है. ब्रू कम्युनिटी को लेकर हम डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की बात कर रहे हैं, या फिर उसके अलावा जब हम बात करते हैं रोहिंग्यास की, Rohingyas people, those who have migrated into India from Bangladesh and all, from Myanmar, Bangladesh and all, तो इन सारे लोगों के राइट्स की भी बात चल रही है. बट इनको राइट दिलाएगा कौन? डू दे हैव एनी काइंड ऑफ मसीहा? आज मसीहा का ही दिन है ना, क्रिसमस आज मसीहा का ही दिन माना जाता है. ओके, तो इनके पास क्या कोई मसीहा है? डू दिस ब्रू पीपल हैव एनी मसीहा? Or do these Rohingyas, those who are in India, trying to get shelter, trying to save their lives, their family and everything, do they have any messiah or their hero? Unfortunately, no. Neither the government, neither the non-government players, they are too interested in the rights of these people. They are not just these people. We are just having these two communities' name just for the sake of example. But everywhere discrimination takes place. Okay, so if we talk about the previous lectures or the previous chapters we have discussed, we have seen that how inequality is there deeply rooted in our societies. At one stage, you will judge me on grounds of my language. On one stage, I may be judged on the grounds of my cuisine, the food I eat. On another stage, somewhere on another platform, I may be judged on my clothes, my apparels. On some other platform, I am judged on the grounds of my religion. Some places, I am judged on the grounds of my caste. Some places, I am judged along with my race or even on my profession. Okay, so ये inequality और discrimination तो एकदम deeply rooted है हमारी इंडियन सोसाइटी में, और इसके लिए स्ट्रगल हम हमेशा से करते आए हैं. अगर हम बात करें रिवोल्ट ऑफ 1857 का, तो वो भी उसका भी कहीं ना कहीं क्या, उसका भी जो मेजर कॉज रहा है वो इनइक्वालिटी, या एनी अदर रिवोल्ट्स व्हिच हैज टेकन प्लेस ऑन जस्ट नॉट ऑन दिस नेशन, ऑन द सॉइल ऑफ नेशन इंडिया, बट एनी काइंड ऑफ रिवोल्यूशंस व्हिच हैव स्पार्क्ड ऑन एनी कॉर्नर ऑफ दिस प्लैनेट. इट इज जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ द इनइक्वालिटी. वेदर यू कॉल इट द फ्रेंच रिवोल्यूशन, where we have seen that third state was discriminated by the first and the second one, right? Yeah, if we talk about the American War of Independence, yeah, American Civil War, most importantly, the American Civil War, the most prominent one, or anyone like Bolshevik Revolution of Russia. So all of these revolutions, they took place just because of the inequality which was prevalent into that society. It was fortunate for those nations that they have taken out this deeply rooted inequalities from their societies and nation. But unfortunately, India, being a nation of unity in diversity, being a nation of love and brotherhood, sisterhood and everything, India, that kind of nation, has unfortunately not been able to eliminate this evil. Inequality. Reasons are multiple, which we have discussed as well many of the times, like political causes, social causes, the unawareness of the masses, and etc. etc. So here this chapter is telling us that how many revolutions does India need? One revolution, it was sparked into the eras of the later 1960s, known as the Naxalwadi movement. So there was a hero, Charu Majumdar. Charu Majumdar took the responsibility of taking ahead the revolution, the total revolution against inequality, and the Naxalwadi movement grew and it spread. We have seen that how it spread throughout the nation. But ultimately, we have also seen that the Naxalwadi movement, it was later diverted into some other motives, right? Today, Naxalwadi movement is having the same concern, that is equality and against discrimination, but the motives and the ways have changed. Apart from that, we do not have any such national level of revolution which is talking about this inequality and elimination of discrimination. Firstly, no revolution, and when there is no revolution, then how can we talk about any national hero which is working, who is working, a national hero who is working for the sake of equality. So that is why some people, not many people, majority of them out of 100, 99.99%, they are all involved in these deep-rooted evils. But just 0.1% of the masses we have, those who can stand up and talk against these concepts. So, Tava Matsya Sangh. When dams are built or forest areas declared sanctuaries for animals, thousands of people are displaced. Whole villages are uprooted and people are forced to go and build new homes, start new lives elsewhere. Most of these people are poor. In urban areas too, bastis in which poor people live are often uprooted. Some of them are relocated to areas outside the city. Their work as well as their children's schooling is severely disrupted because of the distance from the outskirts of the city to these locations. The displacement of the people and communities is a problem that has become quite widespread in our society. People usually come together to fight against this. There are several organizations across country fighting for the rights of the displaced. In this chapter, we'll read about the Tava Matsya Sangh, a federation of fisher workers or cooperatives, an organization fighting for the rights of the displaced forest dwellers of the Satpura forest in Madhya Pradesh. Originating in Mahadev Hills of Chindwara district, the Tava flows through Betul before joining the Narmada in Hoshangabad. The Tava Dam began to build in 1958 and was completed in 1978. It submerged large areas of forest and agricultural land. The forest dwellers were left with nothing. Some of the displaced people settled around the reservoir and apart from their meager farms found a livelihood in fishing. They earned very little. In 1994, the government gave the rights for fishing in Tava reservoir to private contractors. These contractors drove the local people away and got cheap labor from outside. The contractors began to threaten the villagers who did not want to leave by bringing in hoodlums, that is you can say that by muscle. The villagers stood united and decided that it was time to set up an organization and do something to protest or to protect their rights. The newly formed Tava Matsya Sangh organized rallies and Chakka Jam, that is roadblock, demanding their rights to continue fishing for their livelihood. In response to their protests, the government created a committee to assess the issue. The committee recommended that fishing rights be granted to the villagers for their livelihood. In 1996, the Madhya Pradesh government decided to give to the people displaced by the Tava Dam the fishing rights for the reservoir. A 5-year lease agreement was signed 2 months later, and on January 2, 1997, people from 33 villages of Tava started the new year with the first catch. Now, what does this story actually tells us? What is this story actually about? Okay, so this story is actually, अगर एक तवा मत्स्य संघ या कुछ फिशरमैन या लोकल लोगों की अगर हम बात करें उनके राइट्स की, तो ये यहाँ पर हमें दिखाता है कि किस तरीके से हम एक पर्टिकुलर डेवलपमेंट के नाम पर ओके डैम इज रिक्वायर्ड, अगर वहां पर डैम बन रहा है 1958 में आप देख रहे हो शुरू हुआ है, 1978 ऑलमोस्ट 20 ईयर्स लग गए इसको कंप्लीट होने में, तो एक अच्छा खासा डैम होगा। और साथ ही साथ ये जो डैम बन रहा है वहां पर, तो ऐसे ही नहीं गवर्नमेंट ने बना दिया होगा, नीड जरूर होगा, नीड मे बी फॉर द हाइड्रो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी और एनी अदर पर्पस, बट whenever development comes, it comes with some destruction as well. Because whenever I'm trying to figure out or manufacture or construct a new building, I have to destruct the older one. And yes, the history has shown this us only. When I have to construct something new, I have to destruct something which is already placed there. Okay, and there only the injustice prevails. And now coming to the point of this Tava Matsya. So डैम बना, तो यस डैम बन तो गया, ये एक इसने डेवलपमेंट की एक नई राह तो दिखाई, डेवलपमेंट की एक नई सीढ़ी तो बना दी, लेकिन साथ ही साथ यहाँ पर रह रहे कुछ लोगों की लाइफ भी डिस्ट्रॉय कर दी। जरूरी नहीं है कि डिस्ट्रक्शन हमेशा मैन्युफैक्चर जो कंस्ट्रक्टेड जो एक मॉन्यूमेंट है या बिल्डिंग है उसी का हो, लेकिन हाँ डिस्ट्रक्शन कई बारी लोगों की जिंदगियों का और उनके कल्चर, उनके ट्रेडिशंस का भी हो जाता है, उनके लाइवलीहुड का भी हो जाता है। एंड इंडिया बीइंग अ डेवलपिंग नेशन, इंडिया बीइंग अ डेवलपिंग नेशन, इंडिया में अगर आप देखोगे तो कंस्ट्रक्शन हमेशा चलता रहता है ना। इंडिया इज अ प्लेस वेयर देयर इज कंस्ट्रक्शन फॉर श्योर। कंस्ट्रक्शन यहां बंद ही नहीं होता है, कभी फ्लाईओवर तो कभी फुटओवर ब्रिज तो कभी हाईवेज तो कभी डैम्स तो कभी बिल्डिंग्स, कुछ ना कुछ बन रहे होते हैं, मेट्रोज, ओके, मोनोरेल या रेलवे लाइंस, एयरपोर्ट्स, समवेयर समथिंग इज ऑलवेज देयर इन कंस्ट्रक्शन बिकॉज इंडिया इज अ डेवलपिंग नेशन। तो यहां कंस्ट्रक्शन तो होगा ही होगा। फॉरेन नेशंस में जाके देखोगे तो पता चलेगा कि कंस्ट्रक्शन तो कब का बंद हो चुका है, अब कंस्ट्रक्शन होता ही नहीं है, लेकिन इंडिया में अभी भी कंस्ट्रक्शन चलता है। ओके, सो द कॉन्सेप्ट हियर इज, व्हाट इज द थ्योरी? ये लगातार चलता हुआ कंस्ट्रक्शन कुछ ना कुछ डिस्ट्रक्शन अपने साथ लेकर ही आता है। हो सकता है वो एक बिल्डिंग हो, और हो सकता है वो बहुत से लोगों की जिंदगियां भी हो। मे बी इट इज फिजिकल डिस्ट्रक्शन और मे बी इट मे बी द सोशल डिस्ट्रक्शन। और ये एक ऐसा एग्जाम्पल है जो तवा डैम है, ये उसका ऐसा एक एग्जाम्पल है। एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस वी हैव सीन दैट हाउ इनइक्वालिटी प्रिवेल्स। यहां पर फिशिंग राइट्स यहां के लोकल लोगों को मिलनी चाहिए थी, बट on some grounds, on some conditions, on some theories or principles, the government give this fishing right to some private companies on a tender basis, on contract basis. The government gave this fishing rights to some private companies. But did anyone bother to think where these people will go now? Those who are properly the fishermen, those livelihood is depending on the fishery sector only. They will catch the fishes, they will sell it in the market, or they may cook that fish as well, and then only they can eat. But this was something which was neglected by the government at that stage, and hence we have seen that once this exploitation was reached over its heights, when this exploitation reached the heights, the people protested. They came united, they went united, and they protested. And Tawa Matsya Sangh was created, TMS was created. And we have seen that how the people compelled through the roadblocks, the Chakka Jam, and through the rallies, they have compelled the government to withdraw the local contractors. And these local contractors, the private not the local, sorry, the private contractors, they even tried to use their muscle power, the money and the muscle power, to eliminate these kind of rallies and Chakka Jams or the people protesting there for the rights of fishing. Okay, so this is not just one incident. This is just an example of an incidences which takes place in India in each and every corner. ये तो मध्य प्रदेश की कहानी है। सतपुरा हिल्स तो हमने यहाँ पर देख लिया, होशंगाबाद नाम का शहर आपने एक देख लिया यहाँ पर। ओके, यहाँ पर आपने एक डैम के नाम देख लिया यहाँ पर। ओके, बेतुल रिवर का नाम आपने यहाँ पे बस पढ़ लिया, लेकिन इंडिया में सिर्फ एक बेतुल रिवर नहीं है, इंडिया में हजारों रिवर्स हैं। इंडिया में ऐसे हजारों डैम्स हैं, ऐसे हजारों शहर हैं, और इन हजारों डैम्स और रिवर्स के आसपास रहने वाले लाखों करोड़ों लोग हैं जिनका ऐसे कंस्ट्रक्शन से कहीं ना कहीं नुकसान जरूर होता है। इट्स नॉट द पॉइंट कि फिर कंस्ट्रक्शन करना ही छोड़ दो, नो, एब्सोल्युटली नॉट। व्हाई नॉट कंस्ट्रक्शन? वी नीड कंस्ट्रक्शन, वी हैव टू डू दैट बिकॉज दैट विल ओनली ब्रिंग आउट द डेवलपमेंट. But at the end of the day, in the middle of something, we have to also watch out that apart from the construction, whatever the destruction takes place, whether social or physical, it's the duty of the government and the masses as well to look out that social and physical destruction. Because the rights should never be taken away. Because whenever rights are infringed, rights that may be constitutional rights, and in the such kind of construction we have seen that always the human and fundamental rights are infringed. And whenever the rights are infringed, each and every individual has the right to get it re-implemented by the Supreme Court or the High Courts. Right? We have got this right under Article 32 and 226. Move directly to the judiciary, because judiciary is known as the guardian of the constitution, and specifically the guardian of the fundamental rights of the masses. India being a democracy which guarantees rights, fundamental rights, and when this guarantee is not committed, this guarantee is not fulfilled, then the people's lives, they are always in question. And whenever it is in question, that means there is some kind of infringement that has taken place. And for that infringement, these guys have the right to move to the high courts or the Supreme Courts. But the point is, are these people aware of their rights? The first answer is no. They don't know even that they do have such kind of rights. Secondly, the muscle power or the money power used by the other goons. Thirdly, the negligence of the government. All of these three things, it compiles up together, it consolidates together and destroys the life of the people. And at the end, shall we become the terrorists of development? Shall we not support development? Shall we not support construction? So it's a very moral paradox. Construction भी चाहिए, डेवलपमेंट भी चाहिए, लेकिन साथ ही साथ हमें उन लोगों का भी ध्यान रखना है जिनका कुछ ना कुछ नुकसान हुआ है इस कंस्ट्रक्शन और डेवलपमेंट की रेस की वजह से. तो क्या किस पर ध्यान दें? किसी एक चीज पर ध्यान देंगे तो दूसरे का नुकसान होगा ही होगा. तो हमें ना यहां पर बैलेंस्ड अप्रोच लेकर चलना है. ऐसा नहीं है कि कंस्ट्रक्शन यूएस में नहीं हुआ होगा, ऐसा नहीं है कि कंस्ट्रक्शन जापान में नहीं हुआ है, बिल्कुल हुआ है. जब चाइना में भी हुआ है, रशिया में भी हुआ है, हर जगह कंस्ट्रक्शन होता है और वहां पर भी ऐसे डिस्ट्रक्शंस हुए होंगे, लेकिन फिर भी वहां प्रॉब्लम नहीं हुई. क्यों? क्योंकि पीपल एंड गवर्नमेंट दे क्रिएटेड द बैलेंस ऑल टुगेदर. दैट ओके, कंस्ट्रक्शन इज रिक्वायर्ड, चलो ठीक है, स्टैच्यू ऑफ लिबर्टी बनाना है, बनाया है, ओके, कुछ ना कुछ उसकी वजह से किसी ना किसी को नुकसान पहुंचा होगा जरूर, लेकिन गवर्नमेंट ने उसका ध्यान रखते हुए और लोगों ने भी उस नुकसान का ध्यान रखते हुए उसे कवर अप किया. अगर शहर में कोई बस्ती है वहां पर मॉल बनाएंगे, बिल्कुल सही चीज है, होना चाहिए. बस्ती उजाड़ो, वहां पे मॉल बनाओ, शहर खूबसूरत होगा, शहर में साफ सफाई आएगी, शहर का रेवेन्यू जनरेट होगा. दैट्स अ वेरी नेगेटिव राइट कॉन्सेप्ट, दैट्स वेरी पॉजिटिव कॉन्सेप्ट. बट बस्ती उजाड़ने के बाद वो जो बस्ती हटी है उसको कहीं ना कहीं वापस से एस्टैब्लिश भी करना पड़ेगा. कहां एस्टैब्लिश करते हैं? हम करते हैं, लेकिन शहरों से दूर, जहां पता नहीं पानी की व्यवस्था है या नहीं, बिजली की व्यवस्था है या नहीं, जिनसे इन लोगों के लाइवलीहुड्स पर तो असर पड़ ही रहा है, साथ ही साथ इनके बच्चे जो स्कूल जा रहे हैं उन पर भी असर पड़ रहा है. एंड देन व्हाट विल बी द रोल ऑफ डेवलपमेंट हियर? बिल्डिंग तो तैयार हो गई, वहां पर मॉल तो एक खड़ा हो गया, लेकिन क्या उस मॉल में जाने के लिए लोग तैयार हो पाए? आज कल भी किसी मॉल में 10 लोग जा रहे थे, आज भी उस मॉल में 10 ही लोग जा पा रहे. क्यों? क्योंकि बाकी के 90 तो गरीब हैं और उन गरीब लोगों के अधिकारों की तो बात किसी ने करी ही नहीं. ओके, सो दे डोंट हैव एनी मसीहा, बिकॉज इक्वालिटी के लिए कौन ही लड़ेगा? और इक्वालिटी के लिए जो लड़ने के लिए लोग आते हैं वो आ जाते हैं पॉलिटिक्स के नाम पे. लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ यू टॉक अबाउट द स्टेट्स इन इंडिया, दोज हु हैव गॉट सम सेपरेट communities and religions, they have got their very particular political party. State X is having many majority of the population with an ABC with a community, religion or caste. There, for their development, for their upliftment, a political party will be created. Yes, okay, very good. That should be done. We have got Article 19, Clause 1, Subclause C, that is right to form associations and unions. Okay, that's very good. यूनियन बना लिया, एसोसिएशन बना लिया, पॉलिटिकल पार्टी बना ली, लेकिन अब मोटिव क्या रह गया? लोगों का अपलिफ्टमेंट, लोगों का डेवलपमेंट, लोगों को उनके राइट्स दिलाना नहीं. मोटिव रह जाता है सिर्फ और सिर्फ विधानसभा या लोकसभा में अपनी मेजोरिटी बनाकर सरकार चलाना. This is what the Indian masses have faced. But the problem is with the masses itself. They don't even realize that they are being misused. They're not being used, but they are being misused. बट इनको क्या दिखाई देता है? वंस अगेन अवेयरनेस यहां पे सबसे बड़ा रोल प्ले करती है. एंड वंस अगेन द इविल्स ऑफ कास्ट एंड रिलीजन. इनको क्या दिखाई देता है कि हमारे पॉलिटिक्स, हमारे कास्ट और रिलीजन का बंदा है, हमारी लैंग्वेज बोलता है, हमारे जैसा खाना खाता है, हमारे जैसा पहनता है, तो ठीक है ना, कुछ भी करने दो, अब हमारे लिए तो ये लड़ रहा है. लेकिन पॉइंट इज, ये जो इन्हीं के बीच से निकला है आज वो अरबोपति हो गया, लेकिन ये तो वहीं के वहीं रह गए. बट दीज पीपल, दे आर नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस. The regional politics converts into the national politics just because of these unawareness, just because of this unscrupulous thoughts and fugitive and hostile mindsets. Okay, not fugitive, but the hostile mindsets. Okay, so the biggest problem lies in the awareness. Apart from that, the negligence of the government and yes, the negligence of the people as well. So moving ahead with the chapter, the right to know. Okay, the Indian Constitution as a living document. Now, we have got Constitution of India, which talks about the fundamental rights of the people, the constitutional rights of the people. But is this Constitution working? Is this Constitution actually providing all the theories which are there written into the Constitution? Is this all converted into the physical life? This is a very big question. So let's see that. The foundation of all movements for justice and the inspiration for all the poetry and songs in equality is the recognition that all people are equal. As you know, the Indian Constitution recognizes the equality of all persons. Movements and struggles for equality in India continuously refers to the Indian Constitution to make their point about equality and justice for all. The fish workers in Tava Matsya Sangh hope that the provisions of the Constitution will become a reality through their participation in this movement. By constantly referring to the Constitution, they use it as a living document. That is, something that has real meaning in our lives. In a democracy, there are always communities and individuals trying to expand the idea of democracy and push for a greater recognition of equality on existing as well as new issues. Issues of equality are central to a democracy. Issues of equality are very central in any democracy. In this book, we have tried to highlight issues that pose a challenge to this idea of equality in a democracy. These, as you have read, include the privatization of health services in the country, right? In the previous chapter, we have discussed that how the private hospitals and the government hospitals, they are differentiated. The increasing control that business houses exert on the media, the low value given to women and their work, and the low earnings made by small farmers who grow cotton. So all of these things we have discussed in the previous chapters. The role of media, the domination of the business houses on government and politics and media, the role of women, how they are discriminated, why they haven't got too much of the chances of earnings and all, and the role of the poor and the farmers and all. Okay, like the last class only we discussed about the farmers who grow cotton, how they are paid, how much interest they are paying, why not they are getting any kind of a support from the government for their tools and machineries they require, or the fertilizers or seeds they require. This is the core of struggle for equality in a democracy. The dignity and self-respect of each person and their community can only be realized if they have adequate resources to support and nurture their families, and if they are not discriminated against. The only thing they can achieve, okay, they can achieve anything and everything, but only if they are treated equally. Okay, we can achieve anything and everything, but only on the grounds of equality. Let me be equal than you. Okay, let me be equal than you, socially and politically. Forget about economic equality. Just socially and politically, let me be equal with you. And yes, we will all together make out the developed nation, the developed India. कब तक ये डेवलपिंग का टैग लेकर घूमते रहेंगे? कई जगह तो हम अंडर डेवलप्ड हैं. एक्चुअल सेंस में देखा जाए तो डेवलपिंग की जो डेफिनेशन है उसको हम पूरी तरीके से कवर भी नहीं कर पाते, तो अंडर डेवलप्ड भी हैं हम. सोशल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और फिजिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर दोनों. फिजिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तो पैसों से बन जाएगा, वर्ल्ड बैंक या आईएमएफ कहीं ना कहीं से दे ही देगा, लेकिन सोशल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का क्या वो भी वर्ल्ड बैंक और आईएमएफ देगा? क्या यूनाइटेड नेशंस वो भी लाकर देगा? नहीं दे सकता. वो हमें और आपको मिलकर बनाना पड़ेगा. Okay, so then only we can establish equality when we work together, and then only we can establish the developed nation. अगर हम बात करते हैं कि तिरंगा, जहां जहां मैं जाऊं वहां मेरा हिंद नजर आए, मेरा तिरंगा मुझे नजर आए, तो उस तिरंगे को नजर में रखने के लिए मुझे ना वो सैफरन कलर और वो ग्रीन कलर दोनों को इक्वल समझना पड़ेगा. वो बीच में जो व्हाइट कलर रखा गया ना, वो पूरे अशोक चक्र के साथ वो रखा इसलिए गया है कि न्यूट्रल रहना पड़ेगा, है ना. उस केसरी और उस हरे रंग का जो प्रॉपर कोऑर्डिनेशन है वो बनाना पड़ेगा. देन ओनली वी कैन बिकम इक्वल. बट टुडे व्हाट वी आर वाचिंग, a political vacuum has been created, and now those who never had this thought of discrimination and inequality on the grounds of religion, caste and gender, they are having these thoughts. The youth is having this thought. Once we saw that only the stereotype mentality of people or the orthodox people had this thing, but today even the youth is having all of these things. The social media comments, the YouTube comments on any such topic, on any such incidents, shows us that how we are separated. The youth going to the college, the youth working in some MNCs or government, they are having this mindset. Now, they will never be able to consider equal to anyone. They will never be ready to provide equality. And when the youth itself is not ready to provide equality, then once again, development, developed nation, all of these is a far from being object. It's a dream boat. Okay, तो ये वही वाली बात हो जाएगी, दिल्ली बहुत दूर है अभी. Okay, so that's the same concept this whole book has taught us. This is the beauty of NCERT actually. That is, what is the importance of reading NCERT? Why not directly moving to polity? This is something which actually explains about the whole of the ideas of polity and constitution in detail. Okay, so now I believe all of you are this much trained that whenever we deal about the preamble and the fundamental rights or the DPSPs or anything, you will be able to relate each and every concept that is prevalent into the Indian society. Okay, so the chapter has proven, has taught us everything. Not the chapter actually, but the whole book has taught us many things on the Indian society, equality and everything. So coming to the questions here. Okay, I guess no questions. Okay, so no questions, no issues, nothing to worry. Okay guys, so I guess the chapter is clear. The whole class 7 NCERT was clear. And yes, this whole chapter of this whole chapters in this NCERT series, they are like this only. They will provide us the more and more social information and political information, and which is going to support you a lot in your prelims examination, and more than prelims in your mains examination, and also more than mains in your interview round, that is the personality test as well. Okay guys, so that's it for today. We'll meet up in the next class and we'll begin the class 8 NCERT. Okay, so go ahead with the answer writing practice. Please don't leave it any day. At least you should write 2 to 3 answers per day. And with regard to the NCERT, I've got the questions as well to be written. Okay, so that's it for today. We'll meet up in the next class with the chapter 1 of class 8 NCERT. Okay, till then, have a very good day. Khuda Hafiz, Jai Hind.